but we're fighting each other over masks now. People from every side saying, no, you got to wear your mask. Mask shaming. Masks aren't dangerous. Masks are dangerous. I mean, it's going back and forth. Last week, we showed you brilliant studies showing that masks don't work and are probably not good for you. But I still got tons of email this week saying, well, what about this study, Del? What about this study? Okay, let's all admit it. I can refute your crappy science with some less crappy science. Because the truth is that no one ever really thought about masking the planet Earth. And so no one's done a study on it. No one knows what it means to take regular people that haven't been taught to touch their face all the time, every kid picking his nose through it, rubbing it, and nobody putting it in the trash can after 4 hours of use, or certainly a day. You're all, come on, let's admit it, you're all putting back on the same one we wore yesterday and the day before. Admit that, please. Oh, and look at you all wearing with the air gapping in the sides. You feel the air going in and out of your nose. You're liars. You're liars if you're trying to tell me you think you're stopping the disease. You are simply adhering to social control. You were always one of those people that did what everybody else did. You follow the masses. Because just like Gavin Newsom, this doesn't work. And the air gaping in the sides everywhere so you can breathe. Maybe, can I make this a little bit looser so I can breathe better? You're cheating. You're lying. You're not doing it because you're afraid of this, because if you thought it was Ebola, trust me, you would duct tape that thing to your face. You're not doing that. You're just simply going along with the status quo. Well, I feel good about myself. I'm told I'm a hero if I wear it. Well, I'm not going to argue the science today. Instead, I'm going to do something that really blew my mind. Someone just threw away all the crappy science versus crappy science discussions and said, what is the state of the air around my face inside of a mask? I don't know if you saw this video, but it maybe really changed my perspective forever. Take a look at this.
We'll do a little test here today. A lot of people are saying they're getting headaches and stuff from wearing the mask that they're requiring us to wear pretty much everywhere we go. And I'm going to test oxygen level under a mask using an OSHA-approved air quality monitor that tests for oxygen levels, hazardous gas levels, LEL, CO, NH3, H2S, stuff like that. This monitor is bump tested every day. It's calibrated every 30 days. OSHA requires 19.5% oxygen to work in a space. Look it up. Normal oxygen levels is anywhere from 20 to 21, right in that area. So I'm gonna do a little test here. I'm gonna put the sampling tube at the corner of my mouth, and I'm not exerted, I'm just standing here. So we're gonna put it right here. That's going straight to the air quality monitor. And we'll see what the oxygen level is. So I've got 20.5, okay, 20.6. That is the oxygen level without the mask. Do the same test, hose in the same spot. You can hear the alarm going off. That means that there is a hazardous atmosphere. And we'll see what the levels are. 17.4. 17.5, it's starting to go back up. Okay. It's going to clear at 19.5. And that's what is required to work in a space. So if you're wondering about headaches and stuff like that, there's why. Because you're not getting enough oxygen. If you're exerted, working, running, whatever the case may be, it's only going to get worse from there.
All right. Well, I saw that video. I was unable, we weren't really able to figure out who that was or who sourced it. And I don't want to bring you misinformation, but I found it very compelling. But I'm getting some assistance. This is my son, Ever, okay? Say hi to the camera. Say hi to the world out there, Ever.
Hello.
Right. Ever's 11 years old, and here in Texas, the mandate right now is that 10 and over have got to wear masks. And you heard what? That it's...
I think they pushed it down to 7 and under, or that happened at 2 restaurants, so it might not have happened, but that's what I heard.
So he told me that he thinks it's 7, but either way, Ever has to wear a mask wherever we go. And so I thought, you know, let's try the test ourselves, which is why I brought up the fact that, you know, we bought this thing this week. This measures the amount of CO2 that's in the air. Right now, there's 441 parts per billion 441 parts per billion. You can see it, or 43. You can see it's always changing, right? Probably because I'm breathing up, things like that. But parts per billion is what that's measuring. Now, if you go to OSHA, which test air quality, they have certain stipulations of where the levels are at. Do we have the OSHA guidelines? All right, here we go. This is from are not considered personal protective equipment, PPE, will not protect the wearer against airborne transmissible infections agent due to loose fit, lack of seal, or inadequate filtration. This is surgical mask. We're talking oxygen deficient atmosphere means an atmosphere with an oxygen content below 19.5% by volume. And then do we have the CO2 levels, the CO2 levels for OSHA? Hold on one second. We're doing this all live, obviously. We could have done this pre-tape, but I really want to get this right, and I want you to know we're not cheating this, right? So we're looking for the OSHA standard. Meanwhile, while we're looking for the OSHA standards, let me go ahead and get prepared. We're going to send Ever through this test, so let's go ahead and get you strapped up here. Now, if anyone's tried to put one of these things on your kid, you know that it's hard to get to fit, so we're going to work on that. I think we do the spin trick, right? Here we go. Put that over your ear right there. Okay. All right, Ever, does that feel like it's got pretty good? I think you get a little tighter on this side.
Yeah. Oh, I hate masks. They're so itchy, and I can't breathe. Ugh.
Okay, you got it nice and tight there. All right, so here we are. All right, we got it now. Can we just look at the OSHA numbers so that we know what we're looking at? Right now, carbon dioxide levels and potential health problems are indicated below. From 250 to 350 is the background normal outdoor level. 350 to 1,000 ppm typical level found in occupied spaces with good air exchange. 1,000 to 2,000 level associated with complaints of drowsiness and poor air. Now, I've set it at 2,000, which is the top level there of drowsiness and poor air. Obviously, I don't want Ever to have drowsiness or poor air. Let's look at the rest of it. Let me read the rest of those numbers while we're there. 2,000 to 5,000 level associated with headaches, sleepiness, and stagnant, stale, stuffy air, poor concentration, loss of attention, increased heart rate, and slight nausea may also be present. And then 5,000 ppm or more. This indicates unusual air conditions where high levels of the other gases also could be present. Toxicity or oxygen deprivation could occur. This is the permissible exposure level for daily workplace exposures, meaning do not hit 5,000. All right, here we go. Right now, we're at 848. So I'm going to go ahead and just insert this right like as he did, right underneath, and try and keep it. That feels pretty tight right there, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you can just breathe naturally. Let's just see what happens. Okay. All right, so we're at 1,367. We've already just passed 2. So now we're in the place where he can be having headaches. He can be, we're at 3,786. Look at this. We've just passed 5,000. Now we're in the toxic level. Right now we could be doing this 7,000 inside this mask of the CO2. 8,000 parts per billion. And now this thing's gone off the Richter scale, folks. It can't even register how high the CO2 levels are inside. And look how many seconds that was. I mean, in just a few seconds inside of that mask, we are way off of any OSHA scale. All right.
Can I just...
Yeah, you want to take that off? All right, just in case you're thinking to yourself, well, that was a really good mask. That was an N95 mask. Just before the show, we tested a couple of different things that you may be putting on your baby or on your child. Just take a look at the other things that we ran with this CO2 monitor. Take a look at this. Deep, calm breathing. I think we got the idea, right? All right, let's try this one. Plastic face shield. Just breathe, Ever. I mean, obviously, it looks like there's air all over, but even this, you can tell the CO2 gas is getting caught in by his face. Clearly not as much as wearing a mask, but aren't you shocked that this is even having an effect at all? We're up to 1,500. We're nearing 2,000 even with this. Let's see if it's still going up. Still going up. is it collects inside of this mask. I've seen videos of children in Asia wearing these masks in school. Sometimes this and a mask. Imagine what that does to you. So we've hit 2,000, which is now we know is not safe for any school or any workplace environment. 4,000. Now we're going over 5,000. Now we're into what's known to be a danger zone, 6,000. Parts per million, CO2, 6,600. This is a cloth mask. I thought when I was wearing a cloth mask that this was actually safer. So up in the 9,000s with both of these masks. Upper 8,000s. Unbelievable, totally unsafe.
For sure.
All right, well, obviously, you know, you're the son of Bigtree. So how often do you wear a mask?
I try to avoid it as much as I can. Like whenever I enter a restaurant, I usually just press my face into Dad's bag, just hoping they don't see me without a mask.
So you don't wear it very often. But,
yes.
But do you have friends that are wearing masks? Have you seen friends at schools? You know, when school all that was happening.
My entire 5th grade, or my entire class,
was wearing masks.
Yes.
And you know, what did that make you think?
I mean, it kind of felt sad that kids are getting influenced so much by the news and everything, and how they're terrified of the world and everything, and also they have to wear these stuffy masks that I really just don't see the point in. I mean, a virus is so small, couldn't it just slip through and you'd breathe it and come through the sides or something? Like, not really that much point.
Right, and then when you look at the numbers that we were just looking at, I mean, obviously you see that, you know, the scientific body that regulates the amount of CO2 in the air, if we were trying to breathe it, says 2,000. I mean, it's the actual, I think the actual limit in schools is 1,100 parts per million. I just heard the correction was parts per million, not billion. This monitor is parts per million. That it's right there. 1,100 is really the indoor levels. It should be no more than that. We went way above that. We went 5,000 where they now talk about it being potentially toxic. In the main mask you wore, we went right up off the scales. It could be in the tens of thousands. We don't know. We lost track of 10,000. When you think about the fact, when you were looking at all of your classmates that were wearing this mask, and now you think the government is telling people, and we have schools, your principals are thinking, maybe we're going to wear masks. Now that you know that that's a toxic environment based on science, you're going into 6th grade. From a 6th grade perspective, what does that make you think?
Of going back to school with a mask? Well, I'd say PA, physical education, would be totally awful. I mean, doing sports with a mask, I mean, you already it gets hard to breathe after running for 2 hours in like lacrosse. With a mask, you'd have people fainting after 20 minutes. And my teacher has a low voice, and it's kind of hard to hear him already. If he went with a mask, it'd be like, 5 plus 5 equals 10. And he loses.
The teacher might see this ever, so you better be careful what you say right now. Anyway, so, you know, when we walk through town, and obviously, you know, in our family,
Yeah.
we haven't made a scene anywhere. We try to not wear a mask. You know, does it make you, how do you think people are looking at us when we're not wearing masks and they are?
Honestly, I think they feel a little bit jealous, and they try to stamp it out by like, you need to be equal with us, wear your mask. Or sometimes they just kind of let us go, being soon that'll be me.
All right.
I feel like people feel like they have some sort of like burden. If they don't, they get punished. Kind of like a brainwashing almost. If you don't do this, we'll punish you, or something like that.
Well, then those are very astute thoughts. I swear we did not rehearse this. I'm always terrified letting one of my kids say whatever they think on the show here. But at the center of all of this is children, right? I think that's the biggest discussion. You aren't just saying wear a mask if you're sick. You're saying wear a mask, everybody. You might just have this. You might have the coronavirus, and therefore you may be an asymptomatic carrier. But what about our children? Do our children really need to wear this coming into school? I see babies in strollers wearing masks. How safe is that if they're at 10,000 parts per million of CO2? Or anywhere near that, 2,000. Do you really want to be starving your child's brain of oxygen? To me, are you adhering to laws from your government that are hurting the development of your child's brain? Which overrides which, you know? I think it should almost be, to me, that it's bad parenting at the very least if you don't care. You should care. And I think we all need to be looking at this. But when it comes to children, who's fighting for our children inside of the government? How many people are out there like Renette Seenum, that was the mayor in Nevada City? I mean, it just seems like more people should be saying kids don't need to wear these things.